Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Petty Revenge. Our first post is by Angry Chef Nate. Examples of how I've gotten petty revenge as a chef. I'll start by saying I take my career and food safety very seriously. Even if I was livid over a customer, I would never do anything gross, dirty, harmful, etc. to their food, and I would shut down someone else trying to. I prefer my revenge to be petty, but noticed. 1. The crouton debacle. This pair of older women came in, were immediately rude to the hostess and server from what I was told, so the server came to give me a heads up that they seem like a problem. Sure enough, they each start with a Caesar salad and send it right back. Their reason: some of the croutons were big and some were small, and they'd like croutons that were all roughly the same size. Heard. I put the new salads in the window. One had equal-sized very large croutons, one had equal-sized very small croutons, like smaller than a sugar cube. Apparently they learned not to be petty because they shut up and ate them. 2. In a pickle over pickles. We had a gentleman come in and order one of our burgers. He said extra pickles. We normally do 3, so each extra was 3 more, 12 total. When it went to his table he said he wanted more. I gave him 3 more, he sent it back. At this point, it was time to shut this stuff down. I took off all the pickles and scooped through the pickle bucket to find 25 of the smallest slices I could find, all about dime-sized, loaded his burger up, and it didn't come back. For reference, his original 12 pickle order was more than these 25 pickles. 3. Could I get some more onions? This regular always comes in and orders her burger with an obnoxious amount of onions. Normally we do 2 rings. She always initially asks for about 30. No BS, then proceeds to send the server back 3-4 more times for a small plate of about 15 more. It's disgusting. One day, we were busier than usual when she tried to pull this. Rather than have to keep stopping to accommodate her, I took the biggest red onion we had, pushed it through the slicer, didn't separate the rings, and put the entire onion on her plate. The server laughed her butt off when the lady left because she didn't touch any of the onion. Apparently she took great joy in making the server run back and forth, and that was a buzzkill for her. 4. What am I supposed to do with this? We had a regular nightly customer place the same order for pickup 15 minutes before close every night for 4 months straight. We hated her because she treated all staff she dealt with like shit, made ridiculous demands, then no matter what, would send it all back to be refired, even though nothing was ever wrong with the order. One particular thing she'd do is order 6 shrimp pasta dishes and request 3 additional portions of shrimp for each one. But she didn't want the shrimp on top like it comes, she wanted it on the side. No big deal, other than how she wanted it. She didn't want it all together. She didn't even want the 4 total portions for each order together. Nope, she wanted each of the 4 portions for each of the 6 orders separately packaged. That takes a long time to do, way more than necessary, all because she gets off on being difficult. So I wasn't having it one night. We knew she was coming, so all total I knew I needed 288 shrimp, which she got, individually packaged in 288 ramekins. She was pissed. She said, "What am I supposed to do with this?" GM said, "Make sure they're all there." So she proceeded to count 288 ramekins as I watched from the kitchen with a grin. After that, she had no problem allowing us to start packaging it the way it was made to be, and even started tipping. Then eventually stopped coming. Wins all the way around. Our next post is by Condiments for You. Cost ignorant landlord over $50,000. This story is from a while back when I was in college, which was situated in a rather large city, so rent was not very cheap, and landlords thought they could cut corners. Unlike many of the buildings in the area, the room I rented was within a wooden house. When I toured the house, nothing stood out as unusual. The room was small but cozy, there were rather large common rooms, and the roommates seemed nice, one of whom was the landlord's daughter. Another plus was that they were okay with me bringing my cat and not putting down an obnoxious deposit. Cut to 2 weeks later, I moved into the room and everything seems fine, except my allergies begin to act up. I figured this was just due to allergy season being in full swing, despite not usually having allergies act up. 1 month in, and my allergies are worse, and I start to notice small things around the house that seem to just be MacGyvered. For example, sink piping is duct taped and the bathtub had a crack which seemed to be glued together. At 1.5 months, allergies are again worse, and my cat being's acting really weird. They start running into things, acting confused, and having what looks like muscle twitching. I took her into the vet and was told that they believe she's ingested a large amount of mold. Dr. Google confirmed that this is a possibility given her symptoms and fully explains how I've been feeling. I end up asking my friend to watch my cat for a couple days while I look for the source of mold in the house. Remembering the weird handy jobs performed in the bathroom, I removed the little piece of wood that covered the area between the bathtub and ground. It was elevated on some plastic feet, only to find it covered in fuzzy black growth. I immediately replaced the wood, which had growth on the back side of it too, and checked under the sink. It looked like there was old water damage to the bottom of the cabinet, but no mold, that is, until I shone a light into a small hole cut out in the back of the cabinet. Again, the entire area that I could see in that hole was covered in black fuzz. I don't know if it was psychological, but I ended up getting watery eyes and sneezing a bunch while on the hunt for mold. I immediately showed my roommate, who then called her dad about the mold. The dad essentially said it's nothing serious and he'll get to it when he has time. Well, 1 week later, and he's done nothing about it. Wanting to bring my cat back, I called to ask him for an update, and he said that he consulted with a professional who said it didn't sound like mold and that I should just keep it covered. I was pissed, but this being my first rental, I had no idea how to handle it. And for as nice as the landlord's kid was, she really didn't try to help persuade him. After some research, I found that in my area mold is a hazard that landlords are required to take care of. While this wasn't stated in my contract, it was a contractual obligation he had. I called the landlord with this information and told him that I'll be withholding my rent until he sends someone to look at the issue. He flat out laughed and said I can't do that, and that he wouldn't allow me to break my lease early. I was pissed and too nervous to bring my cat back into the house. After reviewing some more local codes, I decided that instead of withholding rent, I would report the issue to the municipality in hopes of them taking action. Within 72 hours, they sent an inspector out to not only check the areas I mentioned finding mold in, but also doing a full inspection of the home. They spent at least 2 hours walking around the interior and exterior, looking under every applicant's and into any accessible space. After the review was done, they told me that the mold damage was far more extensive than I thought. Essentially, the entire house had become infested due to moist conditions and poor ventilation. He said that this would require extensive work, and that I would not be able to stay in my room during this time. But that's not all. The inspector also found over a dozen code and permit violations, each of which would have to be remedied, or else a huge fine would be levied. The inspector sent a letter detailing his findings to the landlord, and I got an angry call with him screaming about how I shouldn't have gotten them involved and how he was actually planning on coming out that weekend. I was too timid to boast about this win, but I did state that, per the inspector's findings, I will be moving out, as I am legally allowed to break the lease if conditions are unlivable. He said I'm not allowed to, and I told him to take me to court in that case. I moved all my stuff out that day with some help from friends and crashed with the friend watching my cat during this ordeal. I was able to get a room in a much nicer house rather quickly and kept in contact with one of the other roommates from the previous home. Apparently, the landlord tried to rent out my room again and didn't take the inspector's letter seriously, even the part that stated that they have, I believe it was, 1 month to take care of all code permit violations before they would be fined daily per violation, some amounting to over $1,000 per day. Things got real for him after about 5 weeks, when he got multiple letters from the municipality detailing all of his fines and how the rates will go up if he continues to ignore them. Last I heard, he scrambled to respond to correct all of the violations, but not before his fines amounted to $50,000 and he was forced to have all tenants move out. I noticed the house for sale a few months later. Our next post is by the dude Mon, Angry lady yelled at a special needs person at the gym, so we did a bit of trolling. This guy named Michael has Down syndrome, and he is at the gym with his father 4 days a week around the same time. He is very nice and positive. He yells encouragement and compliments to people working out. When he arrives at the gym and if he sees me, he yells very loudly, something like, "Hey, how are you? Glad I can see you." And if he likes my shirt, he tells me he likes it and the things he likes about it. Michael is a genuinely good person and I love seeing him when I work out. When he's working out, he makes loud ooh sounds that sound like a cow going moo, but without the M part. It is very loud, especially when he is getting in the zone in his workout. If you've never seen him, you'll look up, see him lifting like a beast, and being the mature adult you are can tell he has Down syndrome. Mind your own business and go back to your workout. Apparently that was too hard for someone this evening. A lady with her training group, about 5 people total, were working out next to Michael. How the gym is laid out, the aerobics stretching area is next to the dumbbells. Still plenty of room for everyone. Michael is doing his thing, having a great workout, but is getting very loud. His father is nearby working out on the machines near the dumbbell area. One of the ladies gets annoyed and walks up to him and yells at him to keep it down. I know the father, we have similar jobs and talk sometimes about work. We both made eye contact and our eyes widen. We are both thinking, WTF is wrong with her? Michael is not hurting anyone. Almost everyone has on headphones anyway. Michael said, "Okay," very loudly. That's just him, but it felt like a hilariously smart-ass response. Haha, everyone gets back to their workouts. Michael obviously is just as loud as ever making those noises. Lady gets pissed, walks up to him, and literally yells at him to keep it down. Father is understandably angry, walks up to her, tries to explain to her that he's special needs and doesn't mean to be loud. They argue for a bit. I couldn't hear everything they said, but the conversation ended when the father yelled extremely loudly, "He's our word, what the F do you want from us?" Everyone stops working out and looks at her. Her face turns bright red, and she sulked away. Everyone goes back to their workouts. The petty revenge part. My workout buddy and I decided that we really needed to work out our abs, so we did some sit-ups in the stretching area, next to their group, and grunted loudly when we got to the last few reps. They said nothing to us though, but we still had fun. While I was writing this, my workout buddy said he thinks she was angry because they were trying to record a video and his noises were ruining the recordings. Didn't think of that. Now it makes sense why she was getting so angry. Michael probably kept ruining her takes. Edit: I tried to upvote everyone who commented. Also, please do not praise me or my workout partner. We didn't do anything really. That's why this is in petty revenge instead of pro revenge. We only did some petty noise-making to piss her off. I am too much of a coward to be directly confrontational to strangers. Sorry, not going to record Michael for useless internet points. Don't exploit special needs folks for internet clout. For those saying this is fake, you'd think I would paint myself and my workout partner as more of heroes instead of lackluster loud grunting noises. I'm a crappy storyteller for not making myself look more of a badass instead of a brat if this is fake. Wish I had some farts in the tank though. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.